Happy New Year. Happy 2018. If you guys aren't too tired after last night, check out the second part of our new series called Getting Lucky. We aired the first part on Christmas Day, and now part 2 you can watch right here. And it's a special thank you for sticking with us and being part of the TFL family. We're looking forward to 2018, and I hope that you guys are going to come along for the ride. You know, there's nothing more satisfying than cleaning a car that's dirty, especially a car that's been sitting in a barn for 22 years. Now, when we bought this Scout, it was covered in all kinds of mouse poop and dust and dirt, and I can't wait to actually clean it and see what we bought. But there's a catch. Tommy, come on over here, would you?
Hey guys!
There's a virus that was actually running loose about 10 years ago in Wyoming where we bought this, and actually a guy died of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, a man died.
It's called hentavirus.
It's called hentavirus, and we were really worried about it because it comes from, well, it comes from the feces of
mice, and it's dust-borne disease, so you can breathe it in, and then when you're affected, it's got a high mortality rate, so we were really worried about it.
Let's just show them how much poo actually fell off it. Why don't you open it up, because as we were driving it back home, all kinds of, well, stuff fell out of it because it was so covered. So I haven't seen this now since we got it here. Oh my God, look at all that. You see all those black specks?
Yikes.
Yikes, that is...
And that's not even on the inside of the truck, so we've got a lot of vacuuming to do.
Purchase a wash, insert money, please enter more month change.
Whoa, there's the mouse. I think he's living in the air filter. I think we're gonna have to evict this tenant, Tommy.
I think we're right.
Want to show them all the mouse turds in there?
Okay. So that's what we're dealing with. It's like a blanket of mouse poo.
It smells like 22 years of mouse poo, dirt, and Wyoming.
Okay, we're throwing away this nasty old carpet. I'll go get more change. So this is way worse than either of us actually thought. We had to rip out the carpet. It's still being held in some places by some rivets or some screws, so I have to go back to the office and take that out. But it's a big job.
Yeah, you know what, Tommy? I think we might have to take the whole seat out, dude.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to take the whole seat out for sure to get all of the mice poop underneath the seat. But it's like a mountain of it.
I don't know how mice are able to poop this much, but they are. All right, you guys, now we have to tackle the engine bay. So, Tommy, do you want to get in there and kind of grab all that stuff out of there? What is this can?
Fuel economy motor oil. Wow, it's canned motor oil and it's full.
I think this is how people develop a hatred for rodents.
All right, Michael, that was certainly one of the grossest things I've done here at TFL.
That was pretty awful, Tom. That was so much poop. Like 50 pounds at least of rat mouse poop.
But now for the fun part.
You get to wash off the car.
22 years of dirt and grime coming off.
Where do you think that mouse ran to?
I think he ran maybe to a Jeep or something.
You think the mouse ran? I think he's still hiding in that motor somewhere.
No, he's gone.
I think Lucky's got a tenant still.
I think he's out of there.
We're gonna have to sort him out too.
There he is.
Come on, just get.
Quick, quick, quick! He's right behind the tire. Do it again.
There, okay. No. Oh, he's behind the wheel. He's behind the wheel. Okay, wait, no. Don't do it, Mouse. Don't do it.
Where is he?
He's in the wheel.
So Michael has managed to lose a resident.
Well, I caught him, and then I let him go, and then he ran back in the truck.
So you didn't catch him.
Well, when I caught him, but then I lost him. All right, Tommy, what's going on?
Well, 22 years in the barn, our International is looking pretty good, but it can look even better. I'm gonna do some instant detailing on this old paint. Really make her shine. So our clutch is kind of just dangling here, and that shouldn't be doing that whatsoever. Now these have a hydraulically operated clutch. Let's see if we've got any fluid in it. Ooh. Yeah, that is not looking so hot. Let me go where no man has gone before. That is clutch goop.
Ooh.
Okay, let's see what the oil bath air cleaner looks like. Oh, yeah, it's there. Okay, plenty of oil in there. Good. We'll call that a win. We're gonna get an expert in to talk us all through our little 1962 Scout 80, and that is Ross with John's 4x4. Let's hear all about it.
Hey guys, this is my friend Ross Hauk from John's 4x4, and not only is Ross a mechanic, but he's also a passionate Scout lover as well as a collector of International. So I thought we'd bring him by and have him kind of take a expert look at our Scout and see what we bought, because you know, we bought this thing kind of on a whim. We drove up there and pulled it out of a barn. So
Great.
Tell me what you think of this. Why don't you kind of cast an expert on it and walk through it with us?
Yeah, so this is a 1962 Scout 80. It's been restored at some point, it looks like, and quite a bit of work done to it. We don't have it running quite yet, I understand, but yeah, let's take a look over it. You know, the early Scouts, even the Scout 80, later 80s and 800s, are all notorious for rusting in the quarters and the rockers.
Let's see.
Yeah.
We got nothing right there.
Nothing there.
Yeah, we got nothing there. We've got some material back in here, a little bit better. I got nothing back there. This isn't the best magnet in the world, but nonetheless.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
There's good steel there, but down here under these gas tanks, there's nothing either. Pretty notorious for the original tanks to rust out as well. There was a little shield under the bottom of them, and that held a lot of water. The fender lips actually feel really solid. Back into that quarter, there's not much going on back there either other than Bondo. But you know, Roman, that's really pretty typical on these old Scouts. Even the Scout 2 is rusted out pretty badly. So to find one that looks original and has been repaired, I'd say this one looks pretty good.
Yeah, let's look at the inside. So there's a lot of kind of interesting things on the inside here. I love the gun rack. Right? Have you noticed that?
That's classic. Yeah.
And then we got a lot of controls, and I don't know what they mean. HFVD. What does that mean? HFVD.
A heater,
Yeah.
fan,
Yeah.
vent, and defrost.
And of course, we've got the old vacuum-operated wipers, which never work.
Yep, the vacuum wipers.
Or at least the faster the engine goes, the slower the wiper works.
Yeah, they're pretty pitiful in Colorado in the winter,
Really?
but better than nothing.
And it seems very complicated. What are those three levers for? What do those three do?
This vehicle has got a twin stick style transfer case. It came from the factory that way.
Yeah. Okay.
So one goes 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. That's
Okay.
your in-out.
Yep.
And the other one, high range, low range.
So 3 speeds, high, low, in, out.
That's correct.
All right, and then we've got a power takeoff too. I think that's that big knob over there.
So yeah, for that power takeoff winch driven off the transfer case.
And did they all come with power takeoff?
Tower takeoff was an option.
Really?
And it could be done for a winch. It could be done for a farm implement,
Yep.
a post hole digger.
Yep.
There was a number of different options that International could outfit this with.
Now they built this basically to compete with the Jeep, right?
So the early, let's see, CJ3A was still going until 1955. Then the CJ5 came out. So yeah, this would have been a competitor to that. It was also the predecessor to the early Bronco, which came out then in '66.
Yeah.
But the Bronco was designed in a lot of ways to take the sales away from International Harvester. It's got the fixed bulkhead.
Yep.
The Scout was available in a number of configurations. One was a half cab that would end here.
Yep.
Then of course you've got your full travel top, I believe they called it. And then you can take the top off, it's completely removable. Your windshield frame folds down, will clip onto the hood there where that loop is.
And the,
So it could be a
doors
total
come off,
convertible. Not easily.
No?
I've seen them without doors, but those door pins have now been down there since 1962. They're not coming off easy.
And one of the kind of features of the early ones, right, are these windows that are actually sliding. And then
Those are neat.
Yeah, they eventually got rid of them. I kind of like them. I think they're really cool.
And I love this anti-rattle window stopper. That's beautiful.
There's a lot of like honest design in this thing, right? I love like the turn signal. It's just a little stock with a little round ball at the end of it. It's really just
Really fun.
basic. You
Yep.
could see that. You could see kind of the Guerrian roots of this thing.
Yep.
So speaking of the Guerrian roots, let's look at the engine because that came out of a tractor. All right, so it didn't come out of a tractor, but the Farmall tractor, which was one of the most popular tractors, and you actually have one, right? You have an
I do. I have a 48 Farmall Cub, small one.
So they took that technology that was in that tractor, and it was an 8-cylinder, right? And they cut it in half.
Correct. So they're light line vehicles, including their dump trucks and even some semis, the heavier ones. They had V8 engines. A 304 was the smallest V8. This actually has the 152 slant 4-cylinder. It's half of a 304. The next size they had a 196 slant 4 as well. So the 304, the 345, and the 392 V8s were the bigger truck motors. This was the cutest, littlest one they had in the Scouts, but they ran pretty well.
So if we want to get this thing back to life, how should we proceed? What would you suggest we do?
It's been 23 years from what you told me, and so I would say we need to get that carburetor pulled apart, cleaned out, and perhaps some new gaskets and seals in the carburetor. And then we can try to give it some fuel. Make sure that we've got spark, oil in the crankcase and compression, and then we'll throw some fuel at the carburetor. You know, whether we use a soda pop bottle and a fuel line to feed it a little bit, or we try to plumb fuel from the factory tanks. I'm not sure what's going to make it work, but
You said all the original factory tanks busted out, so
pretty common.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen one that didn't have its tanks replaced at some point.
really, they're that bad. Why is that?
I think it's that salt shield that's on the bottom of them that ended up being a salt carrier.
All right, now, of course, for the big question, Ross, we paid $4,000 for this, and admittedly, it was in a barn that was potentially hazardous to our health and covered in mouse. It still has, there's still remnants of mouse. I'm sure once we take these air things off, there'll probably be some more mouse nests in there. What do you think this is worth? Is it worth? Do we get a good deal? That's my question, or a bad deal?
No, I think you got a fair deal, Roman. I do. I think that there's a lot of these out there that are becoming pretty cut up. Like my own Scout 800B has been hit with the knife and made for the four-wheeling trails. To have an original, totally stock from end to end Scout 80 in this kind of condition, I'd say you did pretty well.
So, I mean, this is probably not a candidate to be doing any kind of like lifting or cutting, just kind of restoring it back to 1962.
Yeah, I think it's a great candidate for a restoration.
One of the safety functions I noticed that we didn't have are seat belts.
Yeah, it's reassuring, right? The plus side is you can put your lady right next to you and put your arm around her.
And today, we're getting her running. So I just put the battery in the vehicle and we're going to try hooking it up. I did a once over. I'm fairly certain I know which is the negative and the positive on these old Internationals. So fire extinguisher at the ready. Let's hope this works. See what happens if I flip the headlights on. Oh, look at that! I think we've got power. 2 taillights. Yep, looks like headlights to me. Do we have a horn? Okay, now just for the heck of it, radio. Okay, so check this out. The antenna is up, radio's on.
September 22nd at 20:30.
The radio works when I hold onto the antenna.
I don't like compromise.
How odd is that?
My underwear every other set until it becomes part of my routine.
Now, full disclosure, guys, I'm just learning here. I've always wanted to learn how to wrench on a classic like this, and I'm no expert. I'm not trying to be. I'm gonna make mistakes, so please bear with me. Give me helpful comments if you've got them. This is gonna be a fun adventure.
The first step in getting Old Lucky running was to pour some Marvel Mystery Oil down the cylinders to lubricate the pistons.
Now, of course, in order to put the Marvel Mystery Oil into the cylinders, I'm gonna need to pull the plugs, but just so I don't confuse the leads, I'm gonna label them with just a little bit of masking tape. And you can see, this is cylinder number 1. It's labeled on the intake.
All it took to get the Marvel Mystery Oil into the cylinders was a little bit of patience and the funnel.
So I've got the magic mystery oil in the cylinders, hopefully lubricating the rings. Now it's time to drain the oil and put some fresh stuff in there.
After filling, or make that spilling the clutch master cylinder and bleeding the system, it was time to bring the truck outside and try starting her up.
So now that the truck is outside, I can go ahead and put a battery on it, turn it over, and hope that that Marvel Mystery Oil comes flying out of the cylinders. So when I crank this engine, I'm hoping that a bunch of oil comes flying out of the cylinders onto my paper towel catcher device, which is just some paper towels stapled to a piece of plastic, and then of course a catch tray underneath. Hopefully it works. And just for good measure, I did spring for some new spark plugs. So at this point, we should be ready to go. We've got the spark plugs in, fresh oil. I really hope it worked. We did our magic mystery oil. We know it turns over. I did put some fresh gas in the gas tank. We did drain the old stuff out of the tanks. Let's see if we can start this puppy up.
Got all the major components covered, but we need to get a good constant supply of fuel. The mechanical fuel pump is drawing the fuel out of the tanks, so we want to check the supply to the mechanical pump first.
And how do we do that? What's the game plan?
We could do a fuel flow test and a fuel pressure test,
Okay.
but I didn't bring that equipment with me.
Yep.
So we're just going to rig up a fuel hose to the mechanical pump from our gas can, and let's see how it runs with that, if that's a constant supply for it.
So our man Ross had the brilliant idea of taking this disused hydraulic clutch fluid bottle, attaching this. What is this nozzle called? What is this off of?
It's off of a gear oil bottle.
Like
Just helps you get the gear oil in the differential.
So if our gear oil bottle wasn't completely full, we'd use that instead. But we're gonna go ahead and just sacrifice this hydraulic clutch fluid. Cool. And then the gas will just live in there
Perfect.
for now. Do I need to wash this out? Is this something that...
We can wipe it out, make sure there's no hydraulic fluid in
Cool.
it.
Yeah, good plan.
Okay, so we've got our
gas bottle ready. We've got a rubber fuel hose going down to the mechanical pump. And we're gonna go ahead and just give a nice constant supply of fuel and see how the Scout runs.
Perfect, so I've got hopefully enough fuel in this canister to make something fun happen.
Okay, I'll hold that. You wanna go ahead and start her up?
Sucking it down?
Oh, it sure is. I'm almost empty already, Tommy.
Wow. Yeah, go for it.
Try again.
Yep. Nope. Oh, good. So that's actually idling now. So with fuel feeding directly into the fuel pump, that's an idle.
It sounded good. It sounded really good, actually.
Fuel efficient.
Tommy, what we've got then is a good running carburetor, or good running motor.
Yep.
A carburetor that's doing its job without a rebuild. That's pretty phenomenal. But we've got something preventing fuel from the factory tank getting to the pump.
So what could that be?
It could be somewhere in the line if the line is blocked. It could be in the tank itself. This Scout's, the old Scout that I had a fuel strainer on the end of the metal hose in the bottom of the tank. And that fuel strainer was made of metal and it rusted. And it got completely clogged. So I'm wondering if we have a problem inside the tank itself.
So you think that the line is huffing and puffing, but it just can't pull gas, whether that's a blockage or something's wrong with the lines.
Exactly. That mechanical fuel pump's got a rubber diaphragm in it, and it's driven, as that diaphragm pulses back and forth, it's going to suck some fuel, but it's not getting enough fuel supply. So
Okay.
we've got a clog somewhere. I cannot believe you didn't go through that
I
carburetor.
didn't touch it.
I love it. Well, I think
Cool.
we need to pull down the gas tank baffle
Okay.
and take a look inside the tanks.
We'll do so. Probably got to drain the tanks again.
How full are they?
They have probably half a gallon in them.
Oh, no, you won't have to drain it.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so inner panel out, what do we see?
Yeah, we got the inner panel dropped, and we can see the fuel supply hard line coming back from the motor back toward the gas tank up to the top of the gas tank. It drops in up there. We've got our gas gauge, our fuel sending unit wire coming off right here, and a nice inspection port. We can pull this out and take a look in the tank.
So there goes the cover, or the
Sending unit.
sending unit. See if we can't.
And look down in there if we can.
You can see the other wall. So that would be just the other back of the tank, right?
Yeah, you're looking at the back of the tank there on your phone. That looks like a tank that's been replaced to me.
I bet it has been replaced.
Look how clean this steel is on the outside and the inside.
So we're taking a peek inside the tank right now, and it looks really good.
Our fuel's way down at the bottom. It looks really good in there.
So do you think the issue could be there's just not enough fuel in it?
I think you might be out of gas. Your mechanical systems are pretty much intact. Your mechanical pump is working, the carburetor's doing its job, the engine sounded great when it was running, but we were still running out of gas from the factory tank. So Yeah, I think our fuel level might just be too low to be getting picked up right now.
Perfect.
So let's get some gas and see what happens.
Well, thank you, Ross.
Absolutely.
Another hot day out here today for sure as well. See if this crusty old radiator will hold fluid. Yikes. All right, cap's going on. It looks like it's pretty topped off. Okay, ready for a lot of nothing. Choke out. Oh my God. No way. Guys, it's running. Guys, I'm so excited right now. It lives. I cannot believe that Lucky, our 62 Scout 80, actually runs, which means we're going for our first drive on-road and then of course off-road very soon. Be sure to stay tuned for that and subscribe for more Lucky and TFL car videos. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.